Picture this, the year is 753 BC. A city is about to rise, destined to become one of the greatest empires the world has ever seen. Welcome to ancient Rome. At the heart of this tale are two brothers, Romulus and Remus, abandoned at birth and nurtured by a she-wolf in the wild. The legend tells us that it was these brothers who laid the foundations of what would become Rome. But it wasn't all fraternal harmony. Power struggles ensued, with Romulus eventually standing as the victor and the city's inaugural king. From its humble beginnings as a small town on the banks of the river Tiber, Rome would grow, both in size and in influence. It would evolve into a vast empire spanning Europe, Britain, Asia, Africa, and the Mediterranean islands. From its legendary beginnings, Rome was poised to make a mark on history unlike any other. Rome didn't just become a great empire overnight, it had to undergo political transformations, starting with the overthrow of its last king. Indeed, the shift from monarchy to republic was a pivotal moment in Roman history, a seismic shift that took place in 509 BC. The last king to rule Rome was Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, a man whose name alone suggests an air of superiority and arrogance. His reign was marked by tyranny and disregard for Roman customs and rituals. Fed up with his rule, the Romans ousted him, marking the end of the monarchy and the dawn of a new political era. The Republic was born, a system where power was no longer concentrated in the hands of a single ruler, but was instead shared. The reins of power were handed over to annually elected consuls and the Senate, a group of influential noblemen known as patricians. But this power shift wasn't without its own challenges. In this new republic, a divide began to form between the patricians, the wealthy and privileged class, and the plebeians, the common folk. The patricians held political power and influence, while the plebeians, despite making up the majority of the population, were often left out in the cold. And so, tensions began to rise. The plebeians demanded political equality, leading to conflicts and struggles that would shape the republic's future. The Roman Republic was a complex and often turbulent system, but it was also a time of great advancement and expansion. Despite the conflicts and the tension, the Republic was a time of growth, of new ideas and institutions that would continue to shape Rome and its empire for centuries to come. But it was also a time of great tension, a society marked by social disparity and conflict. The Republic was a time of growth, but also one of conflict and tension, setting the stage for further transformation. With its new political structure, Rome was ready to stretch its boundaries. And stretch it did, far and wide. As Rome transitioned from a monarchy to a republic, a significant power shift took place. The stage was set for a new era of expansion, and Rome was more than ready to seize the day. The Republic saw power shift to annually elected consuls and the Senate, leading to conflicts between patricians and plebeians. But this didn't stop Rome from spreading its wings. The city-state was on a mission to expand its territories. Rome's expansion was largely driven by military conquests. The Punic Wars were pivotal in Rome's growth, as they allowed Rome to gain control over the western Mediterranean. These were a series of 3 wars fought between Rome and the ancient city of Carthage, which were located in modern-day Tunisia. The wars were brutal and long, but Rome emerged victorious, marking a significant milestone in its expansion journey. But Rome's expansion wasn't limited to the west. The city-state also ventured eastward, engaging in conflicts with various eastern kingdoms. These conquests brought Rome into contact with the cultures of the East, leading to a cultural exchange that would significantly influence Roman culture. This expansion and the subsequent cultural growth were intrinsically linked. As Rome expanded, it absorbed the cultures of the regions it conquered. This cultural assimilation led to a rich and diverse civilization. From adopting Greek philosophy and art to incorporating Eastern religious practices, Rome's culture was a melting pot of influences from across its vast territories. The cultural growth wasn't just limited to intellectual and religious spheres. Rome's architectural prowess also grew. The city's landscape was dotted with grand structures, many of which were inspired by the architectural styles of the conquered regions. This architectural boom was a symbol of Rome's prosperity and cultural advancement. As Rome grew in size, so did its culture, creating a vibrant, diverse civilization. The expansion era was a golden period for Rome, one that saw the city-state transform into a cultural powerhouse. And as we'll see in the next scene, this golden period was not without its challenges. But for now, let's bask in the glory of Rome at its peak, a city-state that was a beacon of cultural richness and diversity. But not all was smooth sailing. As Rome expanded, it also experienced internal strife, leading to the rise of powerful warlords. As Rome grew, not just in size but in complexity, it was inevitable that cracks would begin to show. The Republic, initially a beacon of democracy where power was vested in annually elected consuls and the Senate, began to buckle under the weight of its own success. Social disparities widened as the rich grew richer from Rome's military conquests, and the poor, well, they remained poor. The patricians, Rome's noble class, had the lion's share of the wealth, while the plebeians, the common folk, were left to grapple with economic hardships. This disparity created a boiling pot of discontent that would soon spill over. Enter Gaius Marius and Julius Caesar, two ambitious men who would exploit this discontent to rise to power. Gaius Marius, a military reformer and seven-time consul, championed the cause of the plebeians. He restructured the Roman army, offering land to poor soldiers in return for their service, which won him their loyalty and support. And then there was Julius Caesar, a name synonymous with power and ambition. A master of manipulation, Caesar used his wealth, military success, and popular support to ascend the political ladder. His rise to power was so profound that it led to his appointment as Dictator Perpetuo, or Dictator in Perpetuity, a title that had not been used in Rome for centuries. But as we all know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Caesar's dictatorship was cut short by his assassination in 44 BC, a bloody end to a turbulent chapter in Rome's history. The rise of these warlords would change the course of Rome's history, leading to its transition into an empire. The stage was set for a new era, an era of emperors and empires, and as we'll see in the next scene, the fall of the Republic was just the beginning. The best, or perhaps the worst, was yet to come. The Republic was at its end, and the rise of an empire was on the horizon. The Republic's demise was marked by one of the most notorious events in history, the assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BC. A popular military general turned dictator, Caesar's ambition and growing power unsettled many, leading to his brutal end on the Ides of March. This power vacuum led to the formation of the Second Triumvirate, a political alliance between Mark Antony, a trusted lieutenant of Caesar, and Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir. This alliance, however, was not destined for longevity. The Republic, already teetering on the brink, was further destabilized as Antony and Octavian vied for power, their rivalry eventually plunging Rome into a series of civil wars. Octavian emerged victorious, and in the wake of the triumvirate's disintegration, he consolidated his power. He assumed the title of Augustus, meaning the revered one, marking a significant transition. The Republic, a system of government where power was held by the people and their elected representatives, was no more. In its place, an empire was born, with Augustus at its helm. Under his rule, Rome transformed. Augustus instated a period of relative peace known as the Pax Romana, or Roman peace. He embarked on ambitious building projects, beautifying the city of Rome and further enhancing its status as a powerful empire. His reign marked the beginning of the Roman Empire's golden age, a period of prosperity and cultural growth that would last for centuries. So the Republic fell, and from its ashes rose the mighty Roman Empire. As with all great empires, Rome too had to face its decline and eventual fall. A confluence of factors led the mighty Rome to its knees. Let's take a moment to understand these elements. At the heart of Rome's demise was internal corruption. The sense of public duty that once characterized the Republic was replaced by a culture of self-interest and bribery, eroding the moral fabric of the society. This decay of values was not only confined to the political sphere, but seeped into every corner of Roman life. Alongside this moral decay, economic instability rocked the empire. Inflation soared as emperors devalued the Roman currency to fund expensive projects and wars. The once thriving trade and economy of Rome were crippled, leading to widespread poverty and discontent. And then, there were the barbarian invasions. As Rome weakened internally, it became a ripe target for the barbarian tribes at its borders. The Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, the Vandals, they all took turns to invade, plunder, and weaken the empire further. And so, the mighty Rome fell, leaving behind a legacy that echoes throughout history.